Hey guys, I'm sat in the bath. It's nothing weird or anything. It's just today's episode we're gonna bare all and get to the deep naked truth. And I thought there's no place I'd rather be than in the tub with my heels on. Now, just before we get into the meat of the episode, I've written something down for you guys if you don't mind me just reading this. I like to kind of get a little whimsical and just write a little poem before I start so you know what's kind of like in store for you. So buckle up, and let me begin is what I was meant to say. I've had many troubles in my life, most of which have never happened. And I believe that is a quote from Shania Twain. We are essentially torturing ourselves, but we don't even realize that's what we're doing. Creating fake scenarios, maladaptive daydreaming, constant planning, but no producing because we stay so much in the planning phase and we imagine our plans in our mind and even speak about what we plan to do with others. And we never execute because we've got the dopamine already from living the plan in our mind and receiving the praise already from talking about it with others. We overthink scenarios that have already happened, that we can never change and we will never know the truth about. And we worry about scary things before we are even doing them, so we drag ourselves through the scary thing twice. I think this living in the mind epidemic could be a dangerous addiction, more dangerous than a lot of other serious addictions. So let's nip it in the bud before we lose more of our real life to our fake one. Whenever I write that and I'm always like, this is the corniest shit. I feel like Alex Turner. Like I feel like I'm, not that he's corny, by the way. He's corny. Change the C for a H with Alex Turner. That's my king. But I feel like I'm like, you're addicted to daydreaming like I'm addicted to you. But I wanted to write that. Did I say Shania Twain, by the way, that quote? I don't think Shania Twain said that. I think it was Mark Twain. I've had many troubles in my life, most of which have never happened. Yet Mark Twain, my bad. Definitely not Shania. Shania said something that's also profound, which is, that don't impress me much. But that was Mark Twain. Welcome, by the way, to the Sarah Elizabeth Show, the best one-woman show on the block. This is episode 7, and this episode is going to be about how to actually start living in the real world and not putting yourself through torture in your mind.
You are now tuned into the Sarah Elizabeth Show.
Allow me to be your Edgar Allan Poe.
Life's a bitch, and so am I.
This show's a bit like getting high.
Let me be your anchor when your mind's a little flimsy. So without further ado, welcome to the whimsy. That'll do it.
If you're scared and just a bit confused about the vibes, just sit with me for a little while. Take it easy for a little while. Come and stay with us. It's such an easy flight. Dip your toe in. The water's lovely. As in, like, you're going to love it here. You've got to stick with me a little bit. I am a bit of a crazy, whimsical gal. But I've kind of, like, created this little cult of baddies. So I wanted to say welcome. I've had so many new faces over the past week. So I wanted to say welcome. In the last episode, I made you guys introduce yourselves like we're in class. And you guys did that. But today, so I do feel like I know you all a little bit better now. I know where you're from, like the age range. We had a lovely time. Oh yeah, go and watch the other episode, by the way, if you haven't as well. But today, my little task for every single one of you, because I love nothing more than dipping my toe into a different music genre or like some songs. Music is I can't explain to you how much music means to me. So I thought if I could ask every single one of you watching, whether you're watching or listening on Spotify, YouTube, don't care, where's Rick? Could you tell me what is your favourite song of all time? This could be a niche one. This could be something out the archives. This could be, don't get shy, just because it's a Limp Bizkit song. Don't think I'll judge you. This is a no judgment zone. I want to know your favourite song, and I want to know if there's like a naughty reason, but not even just naughty, if there's like a deep meaning behind it. Because you know what? I'm going to go through and I'm going to listen to each and every one of your favourite songs. This is how I expand my music taste. I listen to what you guys have got going on. So can you actually all do that? Just pause the vid right now. Favourite song right now. And that means all of you guys can read the comments and be like, what now? And also just do me a favour, right? So I would say one of my favourite songs ever is Layla by Derek and the Dominoes. Mr. Eric, clap them cheeks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and listen to the song. It is orgasmic. Just a yearning song. I love when men yearn. There's nothing I like more than a yearning man. And a learning one, of course. Men need to learn and yearn and earn. That's the 3 things for me. Yearn, learn and earn. YLE. That's how I like my kings. But he's just yearning. He's begging for this woman. There's lore behind this song, by the way. Go and listen to it. You'll love it. There's an acoustic version as well that is just absolutely an orgasm for the ears. But I would write in the comments, if I was making someone else listen to that song, I would put my favourite song at the minute is Layla, Derek and the Dominoes. It's a man yearning with impeccable guitar. So give me like a little description so that people can go through and be like, that'll be a bit of me. Come on, enter the whimsy. So that is today's episode. We're going to talk about the sheer fact that I had a realization that I have, and also I saw someone else's video on this. I will tag him in the description, by the way. He made a really good video about this. It was really short, but it was really impactful, and it was about how I feel like I've lived more in the mind than I have lived in real life, which is so scary. But just before I get in, as usual with the poddy wad, I have Dear Sarah's. This is where people write in little dilemmas, okay? Because it's a very user-led poddy wad. Like I'm locked in with my baddies. If you want to submit these, by the way, you can either comment them, but these are, I always put priority to the baddies that are on Patreon. Let me just have a sip on the seashell. Mia on the Patreon said, I was cheated on in my past relationship and it's given me PTSD. I feel like you're going to shout at me for saying this. Yes, I feel like that as well. But how do I make sure this doesn't happen again? Love you so much. Well, Mia, I'm not going to shout at you actually, because gosh, I feel for you, but there is nothing that you could ever do in your life to make that man not cheat on you. There is nothing that you can do to stop him from cheating. But in a way, what a lovely weight lifted off the shoulders. There's nothing you could ever do in your life to stop him from cheating on you. Bliss. Because imagine if there was, there's no amount of you bouncing up and down on the deer, bending over backwards doing things in the kitchen, or forwards, bending over in the kitchen, doing all this, doing hot tour. Sorry for everything that I've just said in the last 5 seconds, but there's no amount of breaking your back and just doing, dedicating your whole life to him and just really doing everything for him that could stop a cheat from cheating if they want to, because it's in their nature. And in a way, what a lovely weight off the shoulders. I always think when there's something, when you can never ever stop something, if something's in someone's nature, that's in their nature. And sooner or later, when you slip up, even if you were really bending over backwards and forwards and upside down and really doing everything to try and keep him from going somewhere, if that's in his nature, he's going to do it at some point. You can never control that. And in a way, part of today's episode, right, is going to be about the beauty of, if there's something that you can never fully control, you've got to let go and trust that you're going to see the light sooner or later, right? Let it go, turn into Elsa and Anna on that hoe. Let it go. It's out of your control. I know it's horrible that that's happened to you, and yes, that's real that you've got PTSD. Focus on enjoying the relationship and also building a life outside of him while you're with him. Like I always say, I said this in the last episode, when you're in a healthy relationship, don't just nurture the relationship, nurture yourself outside, because then, like I said, when someone cheats, if you have literally made him your entire life, if he was to cheat, not only are you now dealing with the betrayal and the pain, but you're also dealing with the fact that you've lost your entire life because you made it about him. All you can do now is just have this attitude of whatever happens is going to happen. I'm going to keep my wits about me. So hopefully, if this man is going to do something like that, in fact, my body and my mind and my soul and my gut are going to tell me before it even happens, because that's a thing, by the way. But also just that beautiful thing of you can never control this. There's nothing that you can do. And like I said, there is people that are going to say, well, actually, Sarah, yeah, he cheated on me because I put loads of weight on and he's not attracted to that. That's the reason he gave you. Cool. Maybe that is the case. Maybe he genuinely wasn't attracted. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. This is a thing. This is a dilemma we had in the podcast the other week. A girl said she put weight on, her boyfriend wasn't attracted to it anymore. Horrible. Obviously it's a rough topic to talk about, but let's be real and true. These things can happen, and whether that's right or wrong, or what you believe about that, or how you feel, that there's going to be people that are really attracted to that. There's going to be times that is what's happened. He still cheated because he was a scumbag. You can lose the weight, by the way, if you want to. He can never ever lose the fact that he's a cheat for life. How about that? So he's still the one that's the one with the moral discrepancy. I don't give a heck if you've put loads of weight on because whether you wanted to or you were going through something like that and that's made him unattractive. I don't give a heck about any of that. If that's the reason he's got to cheat, he's still just as much of a cheating scumbag whether you put the weight on or not. There's never an excuse for cheating. So don't ever think that. But I'm saying, don't ever think that there's anything that you can do to control it. Because like I said, even if you did, let's say for that example, someone's cheated on you because you put weight on, which by the way is the most disgusting foul thing, and I'm actually getting chills having it come out of my mouth. But let's say that's happened. He's not attracted to you anymore. That's what's happened. Please believe that even if you remained the same weight and didn't put that weight on, down the line, it's going to happen because he's a scumbag. With things that you can never fully control, rid yourself of that kind of weight of bearing the weight. And this is actually what today's episode is going to be about as well. My other Dear Sarah is from Jessie, and I love this one, and she also put this on the Patreon group chat. By the way, the Patreon has a group, I'll talk more about this in a second, but the Patreon has a group chat. I'm so bored of my life. My heels. Jessie said, I'm so bored of my life. Nothing excites me. I could be depressed, yes, but I wanted to ask, what are some ways I can start having fun and injecting some whimsy into my life again? Okay. Yes, definitely you could be depressed, and let's not skate over that, and this is something that you want to attack. But when you feel like you're so bored of life, right, that is a big problem, right? That is not something that's going to switch overnight at all. And there's also probably things that, like depression at play, and there's probably things that someone, like therapy and stuff, could sort. But like I said before, guys, start silly and start small. The changes that you can make, because I could tell you right now, like, oh, if your job's making you depressed, quit your job. You can, but there's a lot of the really big things that are like causing you the most disarray. You can't just up and quit. You can't just up and change. But people overlook the silly small things. Oh, that's never going to work. Nah, that's not. But they overlook them. But it's the build up of those small and silly little injections of whimsy that are gonna have the big effect. What I mean by that is, no, you'll notice like a lot of the things that you just count as like, oh, that's just silly. Like you'll notice, when you do them, you're like, oh, that actually does feel really good. That actually has like ignited like a little flame in me. And you don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe in these small, silly moments that you're making changes, you could have a really big idea that could change your outcome. You need to set the scene for big change to happen. This is what you're not getting. It's not clocking to you that you need to set the scene for big changes to happen. A lot of the time where you can't see a way out and you feel really trapped and you're not enjoying life, you've not created an environment for those little magical moments to happen. For example, I'm in the tub right now, rub-a-dub-dub. Let's think having a bath. You've had a rough day. You want a bath. You need a bath. You reek. Okay? You could just quickly have a bath. Run a bath. Nah, I'm not going to use any. I'm just going to... You're like, I've got 30 minutes here. I'm going to just jump in the bath. Or you could be like, you know what? I've had a terrible day. I'm feeling really down right now. But I know that I've got a good 45 minutes to have a bath. So I'm going to make this. Instead of just having a bath, I'm going to have a bath. Hear me out, because a lot of what I'm going to say is going to sound silly, but on this podcast, the silly shit turns into the big willy shit is another thing I'm not going to say ever again, because that was horrid, but I just like to rhyme because I'm that whimsical. But basically, you're going to be like, no, I'm going to have a bath. I'm going to set the scene. I'm going to crack some LED lights on. Why? Because I'm a sexy little beast. I'm going to use all my nice bath bombs because I'm not saving shit for a special occasion. By the way, the special occasion will never come. The special occasion is you, and it's now. You're going to crack out your Joe Malone candle that's gathering dust because it's too nice for just day-to-day use. Who says? Who are you talking to? Set the scene. Use all your nice shit. Play a lovely, sexy playlist. Dim the lights. Have the lamp candles flickering. But I'm not going to go on my phone. I'm going to have a whimsical moment. I'm going to listen to a new playlist in the bath. And you're going to be like, I'm going to do everything in my power right now to make this the best bath I've ever had, just because I can. Use normal nice shit. Some of the best ideas I've ever had have come to me while I'm in a whimsy bath. Not a bath with the big light on, where I'm all rushed and I'm on my phone scrolling and I've not lit any candles and I've not even used a bath salt and I'm just sat there parching away in the bath, burning, defertilising my eggs. I've never had a good idea in them baths. In fact, I've had bad thoughts in those baths. But in a little sexy whimsy bath, it's all come to me. And like I said, some people might say, Sarah, this girl's just said she's depressed and you've told her to have a sexy bath. Like, have you lost it? No? Well, potentially. But I'm saying it's in the little things. And stop saving your good shit. That's what it is. Saving your good shit. I think a lot of people as well, they'll save their nice stuff, or all the nice little bath creams and the body sets and the lingerie. You're saving it for a good occasion. You're saving it for a guy. You're saving it for when you're at your kings. The special occasion is you. It's never something else. And by the way, can I just say this? Saving the nice stuff for a guy doesn't work either. This reminds me, I treated myself once because I had a good week of not lashing out at anyone. I had a 1 week of not jumping to any conclusions, because usually I dive to conclusions, so it was a good week for me. So I treated myself to some lingerie from Agent Provocateur. Now, if you know anything about that, Agent Provocateur, it's expensive and it's sexy. But I was seeing a guy at the time, and I must have sent him like a little snap just in it, because he was behaving himself that week as well. It was a great week for the both of us. So I sent him a little snap in my little Agent Provocateur. And he messaged me back and he was like, oh my, he was like, that's getting ripped off you the second I... Sorry? You will do nothing of the sort. This is Agent Provocateur, sir. You will unclasp it slowly and you will handle with care. So I thought, goodness me, these like expensive purchases, they're better just for me, because he's chatting rip it off with his teeth. You will be careful, sir. This is provocateur. And you will take your time. Sorry to ruin the mood, but it dawned on me. I thought, gosh, this is for me, this. He can have the team you set, because then you can do what you want with that. But I thought, yeah, sorry, I went off the thing. Another little thing that I did this morning, sorry, that added such whimsy to my life. Again, super cheap. I went to Home Bargains for snacks. I spent no money on this at all because I don't want to be like, oh, just, giving you ideas that you can't apply. I knew I had 25 minutes. I felt really I had a little like lunch break basically. I know I don't work, and this is my job, but like I had a break where but I felt really low today as well. Like I said, I'm in such a good position right now, but I do still have low days, and I felt really low this morning. I felt really like kind of negative and in my own head, and I was like, I don't know what to do, but I knew I had a good like 25, half an hour, and I wanted to get some fresh air. So I went into Home Bargains, got myself a little arrangement of snacks, took my blanket out with me. I went and sat in like a local little park. I found a little spot under some trees. Sun was shining, spread my blanket out. I got my notepad out, had my little snacks, had some water, was listening to the birds tweet. And I thought, goodness me, and not even joking, just a little picnic, listening to the birds, watch people watching, writing a few things down, not using my phone, having a little snack by myself just under the trees. Genuinely, I'm not joking, got about 3 incredible ideas for the next episode, by the way, so you better buckle in and let me begin, because it's going to be good. And I just felt 10 times better, and I thought, oh, I could usually when you get a break, like if you get a break on work, or you just think, oh, I'm going to sit on my phone and have downtime. Stop doing that. It's literally penetrating your mind. Forgive me, which you do not want. That's not the type of penetration we want on this podcast. So, yeah. And inject, like I said, it's all about, this is, the last episode was more about this, but it's all about injecting whimsy. It's like my friend, she said to me the other day, I will get onto the main point, sorry, just 2 seconds. My friend said to me, you're going to find this really weird, by the way. I said, try me. She said, but basically I've just been feeling really depressed and I've not known what to do. So I've started just really randomly, and I've been finding such peace in it. I've started bird watching and kind of like matching bird sounds to like, and knowing like what bird sounds is what. And she thought I was going to look at her cuckoo. I said, bitch, that's the coolest shit I've ever heard. And she was like, well, a couple of people have said it's a bit weird. Well, they need to be careful, because to be honest, they bird watch every day because they look in the mirror. Yeah, do you know what I mean? A lot of people be bird watching, but I thought that's brilliant, that. I love that. And also, she said to me, you're going to think this is weird. Who cares if someone thinks something is weird? Who? What are you, a fucking owl? Hope she sees some owls while she's watching the birds. With the fact that that's a sentence, I had to shake her. I said, the fact that you've just said the sentence, you're going to think this is weird. She's your life. You don't give a heck if anyone thinks this is weird, but that's injecting a little bit of whimsy into her life. That's the type of shit we need. We need the weird and wonderful and whimsical shit. I'm going to do more of an in-depth episode on that, because this is just, dear Sarah, this is not what today's episode's about. But also last week's episode, How to Get Personality, You Are Boring, by the way, if you haven't seen it. I gagged you. Is a little bit more about that as well, so you can go and watch it. Guys, I'm going to get into the tips right now, because I've got a whole spreadsheet of how you can stop living this shit in your head and go into the thing. But just before I do this, because I'm going to otherwise forget, and I am genuinely on such a high with this right now, and I want every single one of you to be part of it, because I feel like that's, do you know what it is? I always thought physical changes, so like physical glow up and like looking really sexy and stuff, that would, I made the mistake when I was like 18, 19 of thinking that would be the solve of your problems. Like if you felt physically good and you looked physically good, then you would automatically, like, mentally you'd start. But I promise you now, it's taken me years to figure it out, and I know exactly what to do to figure it out. But like, I promise you now, if you work on the mental and the spiritual, all that will fall into place. And I do feel like now more than ever, it is in that order. It has to be in that order. Like, you need to do the mental alongside the physical. And I feel like I've said multiple times, I'm like a broken record on this podcast, but I genuinely am the sexiest. I feel the sexiest I am right now. My body, I've had such changes physically in my body where I feel like I've looked at, there's just, everything's fallen into place. And that's why I was like, I want every single one of you guys to be in this position with me and be on this journey with me. And of all the little things, all the routines, all the things I've been doing, I wanted a way to share it with you all. I know some of you will have heard me talk about this on the last few episodes, but for you guys, there's a slight update, by the way. So if you've heard me speak about this before, stick with me. If you're new, you've got so much to, I can't, but basically, in a nutshell, I like I said, I will sound like a broken record for people who have been on the episode, but I have got some new updates. But I did the 75 hard challenge like about 3 years ago. It didn't work for me. Like I said, it was not sustainable. It didn't feel right in my soul, literally, because it was too like, so in a nutshell, based on everything I've been doing over the past 6 months, routines, everything, and just having this physical, spiritual, and mental glow up, I have created my version of the 75 hard called the 75 sexy, which encompasses every single thing that's been helping me, and I'm doing it all with you guys. And that's why I like, because also as well, I can learn from you guys too. It's so good. So basically how I've done this is basically 75 days, but you can start it whenever, because then obviously some people have started, but then some people will be starting next week. It's just whenever, and it's super chilled. And I'm basically doing it with you guys as a challenge. I've written my own rules, which you guys follow in. And for this, I'm going to do not only like workshops and exclusive episodes guiding you through all of that, but there's also going to be live classes, because I've again, if you guys have heard this before, but this is just for the new people. I'm a qualified personal trainer, and I used to do lockdown lives, which were when because I stopped doing PT in the gym, I took it on live, and we just had this kind of like community, which was so incredible. So I was like, I'm going to bring that back tenfold with the podcast. And not only are we going to get really physically fit, but we're also just going to glow up with everything that I've been doing, just sharing it with you and putting it all in one hub where you guys can make friends and chat to each other and encourage each other. So that's exactly what I've done, and that's exactly what we've got going on. On the visual, you're going to see some visuals on the screen, but for those who are not on the visual, and this is all taking place on my Patreon. I'm not charging any extra for this at all. It's literally just what my Patreon is, which is, I think, is £3 a month. Patreon, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, is just a complete like hub of like extra content, but it's so good because I can chat with you one-on-one, but there's also a group chat. You guys can chat with each other. There's videos, there's folders you'll see on there. There's folders for like the live classes, there's folders for the workshops that I'm doing. It's also very user-led, so you guys can suggest and pick what's next, and I'm literally pumping it all out. So all I can say is I want every single one of you on this right now on that Patreon. If you feel like as well 75 is a challenge, it sounds a little bit too much. I said this in the last episode too. The rules are very different to the normal ones, so you'll be able to follow them, but also you can dip in and use what works for you. Also as well, just today I'm doing an episode. Today I'm doing by the way, on the Patreon, for those who are on the Patreon today, there's going to be a follow along 45-minute leg day, so you can literally take me into the gym and do it with me, because obviously, you know, I'm going on the PT knowledge, but also I'm doing an episode on how to cope with your luteal phase, because that has been the most interesting thing, because I've learned so much on that in the past few weeks, but that was requested. There's so much stuff on the Patreon already, by the way, so even if you go on there now, you actually have quite a bit to work through. Get yourself in the group chat chatting to the girlies. I've got so many huge plans for it as well. We're actually doing a live Zoom tonight when you're watching this, so if you guys can make that, there is a few more spaces on Zoom. So with the live classes as well, if you can't make them or you feel too shy, you can have your camera off and just sit in them, or there will be saved classes as well to the Patreon. So there's so much going on. I don't want to make the whole episode me talking about it, but all I'm going to say is every single one of you needs to be on that Patreon. Even if you're just like, oh Sarah, I don't want to do the 75 challenge, that's a bit much, but I just want to absorb all the content that I can and like do little bits. Perfect. And by the way, you can join at any point, so you can just go back through all the old content. All I can say is, if you do love this pod, you will love the Patreon even more, and I'm so confident in that. And like I said, with Patreon, there's literally it's not like you're contracted in. You can leave at any time, you can cancel at any time. It's literally no catch, even if you just want to go and see what it's about and then go, that's completely fine. But I want every single one of you on there. I won't waffle on for much longer. There's so much stuff on there, and the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted an even tighter knit community where I can just do so much extra for you guys, and yeah, keep it the price of a latte. That's all I wanted. Patreon is linked in the description of wherever you're watching and listening to this. Go and sign up right now, because also I don't want you guys to miss tonight's stuff as well. See if you can join the live class tonight. And obviously I'm aware, guys, there's different time zones and stuff. In the group chat, I'm always asking when you guys can make the next one, but obviously there's all saved stuff. So many challenges. And also, yeah, the episode on the luteal phase will be up tonight. I'm not going to talk about the Patreon anymore on this episode, but that's why you need to pause. Go to the link in the description, or wherever you're listening and watching, and go and sign up, because it's going to be the best thing you ever do. I genuinely mean that as well. And this isn't someone who's like, please just join my Patreon just so I can get somebody. No, it's going to be the one thing that changes your life. And I've genuinely never been more serious about that. So go now and let's get into the tips. I made this kind of like connection. This kind of like thought. You can be anything in your head, anything, okay? But in real life, you might be nothing. Hear me out, I'm not cooking you, but I was thinking about this. When you can kind of create a reality in your life, and a lot of this is linked to a lot of like ADHD and autism. I'm not going to talk about all of that today, right? But I'm just going to talk about I feel like every single one of us, especially you guys who watch me, like I feel like I just magnet the people who are like on my vibe. The mind is we're very deep thinkers, as you know, on this podcast. I always say, like, we're very deep. Everything is kind of deep. And that's such a blessing, but also such a curse. Because you'll meet people sometimes, I'll say to people sometimes, like, do you create like entire scenarios in your head, like even like full on relationships and stuff? And they'll be like, no. And I'm like, oh, damn, it must be peaceful. Let me dip my toe into your mind, because that sounds peaceful. You can be anything in your head, anything you want, okay? Right? But in real life, yes, I do believe in the thing of like you can be anything as well, but it's a lot harder to actually get there. In your mind, you can kind of do it like that. In your mind, you can create any partner you want and kind of live that in your mind. In real life, you might have that doom of, oh, there's no good men that exist. But in your mind, you can do it. And that is dangerous, because this is what it is. Your mind is often your safe space as well as the worst, most dangerous place for you. And let me cook with this one, okay? So in your minds, you can create scenarios that are you can control the narrative. In real life, you cannot control, you will never be able to control the narrative in real life. But in your mind, you can control those stories. You can be like, okay, this is how this is going to go in my mind. You feel like you're in control. You feel like you're in the driver's seat. I think you know what this is. You're in your sport, in your mind, you're controlling what's going on. In the real life, you've got no control, which means your mind is your safe space. But like I always say, trust me, you know I like to say on this podcast, there's nothing safe about my space, bitch. That's when sometimes guys will be like, I like a woman to be my safe space. Stay far from me. I come with a warning sign. This is not a safe space. This is hell. But no, that's mean to say. I do have a peaceful side, but like I don't really, I've never, like I said, I've told you in the last episode, no one's ever said to me like, I feel really safe around you. They feel on edge, bitch. But like your mind is your safe space because you can control it. But then it also means that your mind, because you're constantly controlling narratives and you're in your mind so much, it also is the most dangerous place for you. And you scare yourself because you put yourself through scary situations more. Think about this. If you are going to do something scary, and you're an overthinker, right? Something coming up is scary. It could be a date. It could be a new job. It could be a situation where you're going into like a school situation and maybe you've been bullied in school. So social situations, you're always thinking no one's going to speak to me. No one's going to like me. Everyone's going to leave me out. You've got that kind of PTSD. Any sort of scary situation. The situation might be scary. Cool. Because any kind of like big thing can be quite scary. And you know that it is going to be quite a nerve-wracking thing. So if you know that it's going to be a nervous, scary thing, why the hell would you put yourself through that twice by worrying about it for weeks? But we do it anyway. Do you see what I mean? Something scary is coming up. We can all agree, all of us who are sane. I mean, none of us are sane, but you know what I'm saying. Everyone with a sound mind can say, yeah, starting a new job is a scary experience. We're not going to sit here and pretend it's not. But you put yourself through that torture of living the scary situation, which you are going to have to live because you're going to have to do it. Twice, sometimes 3 times, sometimes 4 times, by going over all the worst case scenarios in your mind before then. You are torturing yourself. You're putting yourself through a Bush Tucker trial of the mind. That's what I like to call it. You're basically torturing yourself, but it's subconscious. You don't think of it as that deep. You don't think, oh, this is torture, but you're literally putting yourself through shit because you're going, oh, so I'm going to go in and there's going to be 3 girls that don't like me and then they're going to do this, and you're literally going insane, creating insane scenarios. Whereas how about you just go into the scary thing and let it play out? But no, you're going to go through, and this is going back to my Shania Twain, I'm going to just keep saying that now, quote, most of the shit, you've been through so many troubles in your life, but most of them you've never actually lived. A lot of these scenarios that you sat there just torturing your mind with, they're not actually ever going to happen. So you got to get out of your own head. And again, I say this all the time, make a conscious effort now that when you start to go into those thought processes of, oh, I've got something scary coming up, everyone's going to hate me, start giving yourself, ow, that actually hurt, I've just bashed the clip into my forehead. Give yourself a slap around the chops and say, like, what are you actually doing? I told you in one of the episodes, make that little voice in your head, that little voice, some ugly little goblin, some little freak, that little, like, just make him like some ugly goblin. So when it rears up, that voice in your head, be like, oh, here he goes again, that fucking little puppet. You know that puppet from that meme where it's like, You'll get knocked the fuck out. That Limp Bizkit meme. Please tell me you know what I'm talking about. Make it that little puppet. So every time you get that horrible thought of like, everyone's going to hate you, and your mind is putting yourself through the fear before you've even gone into the situation, make that voice some goofy little puppet so that you like make it look like a clown. And that sounds like it wouldn't work, but it actually has worked for me quite a bit. Okay, let me talk to you about something that I wrote down. This is the 5 P's, because you know I like to push P on this. What I like to call the 5 P's. I'm going to say this like this. Constant planning feels like productivity and progression, but it's actually procrastination. You need to produce. Pushing P. Hey, I'm in the booth. So basically, guys, what this means, and I wrote it down this way because I fell into a trap. This is another way of how I've lived in my mind more than I have actually done stuff, okay? Just keeping it real. This is something that I've been doing recently. Constant planning makes me feel productive, right? Always thinking, oh, that's a good idea. Write it down. Making to-do lists. I got into a genuine position where I was making to-do lists, right? And I would write today's to-do list. Make my to-do list. Tick. Finish to-do list. Tick. Make tomorrow's to-do list. Tick. Complete to-do list. Tick. I was going insane. I was making to-do lists about finishing other to-do lists. And it felt productive because I was ticking to my heart's content. But I was tricking myself into ticking off shit. And I would put the smallest, most frivolous tasks on the to-do list. Finish today's to-do list. Put my book in the and then tick, going tick happy. And just my brain was tricked into feeling productive because I was doing ticks. But when the day came to an end, I hadn't really done that much at all. And doing all this planning felt productive because I would write and plan for ages, but I wouldn't actually produce anything. But my brain was still getting the dopamine of productivity because I was sat planning. And then what I would do is I would tell people about my plans. So I would get the dopamine of people being like, oh wow, that's amazing. You're so good. You're so whimsical. Your brain is so good. People would give me all the compliments because I tell them about my amazing plan. And people would be like, your mind is amazing. And I'd be like, hey, and I'd get that dopamine from the plan before I've actually done it. So when it comes to actually doing it, brain's like, I've already done it, bitch. I've already got the compliments. I've already ticked the tick boxes. I don't need to do shit, huh? In fact, the producing seems a little bit like that's the grueling part. That's the hard part. The hard part is actually getting shit done. But if you've already got the dopamine off meticulously planning, and also as well, this is what I would do, and I would plan, and then I would think about the plan in my head before I'd even got to producing anything at all. I would start thinking, okay, so this is going to happen, this series is going to take off, and then I'm going to get invited here, and then I'm going to do there, and in my brain, subconsciously, I'm getting all this dopamine of something that's not even happened because I've not even produced anything, I've just planned, but I'm getting the kind of like dopamine in my head, and I'm living out what's going to happen in my head. And it feels safer here because at least I can create like this scenario that's really successful and great. But then when it actually comes to producing, the reality is when you do something, it's not going to work out the first time. And it's not going to always go to how you planned it. And it can be a lot harder than you imagined it. And all those things can be quite demoralizing for the mind. Whereas you doing your little planning in your head, that actually felt safer for you because that at least produced some kind of outcome that you wanted, but it was not real. So you need to get out of this trap of constant planning. I've said this before and I've said this again. Yes, it is good to like get plans down and empty your brain onto paper. But I promise you one small step. Here I go, one small step for man. Do I think I'm Neil Armstrong or something? Who do I think I am? If you can take one tiny step of producing, that is worth so much more than hours of planning, always, of actually doing shit. And that was what it was. It was fake productivity. And I've finally broken the trap for that. And I've done a whole in-depth episode of that on the Patreon. I'm not going to go on like a broken record, but I have. But like I said, all this shit, we're overcoming it together, guys, because I feel like we're all in it together. There's another thing that I wrote down. Self-torture, okay? You will never ever know whether your friend is fake, whether your man's going to cheat on you, whether your partner looks at other people behind your back, whether your mum thinks you're a dickhead. Sorry, I don't know where that's come from. Help. You're never going to know anyone ever. Scary, right? I'm not trying to scare you, all right? You're never going to know whether those people you just spent time with spoke about you behind your back when you got off and off the table, okay? You're never going to know. And even though for years, that fact horrified me because I wanted to control everything. So that led to a lot of years of me being just recluse and not doing anything, because I was like, at least in my mind, I can control the narrative. You can never ever control the narrative. You can dedicate 30 years of your life to someone and they not even be the person that you believe them to be. That's horrifying. So this leads a lot of people to be in their mind, because the only thing you can control is the script in your mind. That's the only area of your life that you have control. But you have to just Elsa and Anna your life. Let that shit go. The beauty of just being like, okay, I can never control this shit. That is a joy. That is, view that as such a positive. Oh my God, thank God I don't need to control that shit. Because low-key, I would feel constipated as fuck all the time if I had to control every narrative. You're never going to know someone. That's peace. That doesn't mean you now never will date anyone or never open up to new friends or never do anything because you're just constantly scared of what people are going to do. No, it means you can let it go. You don't need to have that over your head. If people are going to do that behind your back and do everything, let them. Okay? No skin off your back. If you pour into your own cup, and like I said, make your cup a big, massive Stanley cup, Stanley dupe, and make their cups little shot glasses, then if that ever does happen and it turns out someone you dedicated your life to turns out to be a piece of shit, it's all right, because you've been pouring into your own cup anyway, so you can just keep on going. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's so freeing to be like, yes, I can control the narrative in my mind, but then you're just going to waste your entire life living in your head and not actually doing anything in your real life. So get out of your head. And when it comes to like daydreaming and stuff, a little bit of it is okay, you know. Have you had like, I love sometimes going to bed and just being like, oh, I'm in the arms of my king. I don't know if this is like, potentially it could be mental illness, but like, I don't know. I love a little dream. Sometimes when I feel like this is common, but sometimes when I'm in bed, if I'm like having a little daydream about me and my special king, and my brain is like really heating up the story and like trying to skip to the good bit, if you will, and I'm like, slow down. We've missed a forehead kiss here. Yeah, and then I'll be, yes. So it's normal, I think, to have little daydreams and stuff, but I've really been catching myself in the act recently and being like, no, when I'm noticing like myself really like just constantly daydreaming, I'm like, no, we have life to live here. Let's do something. Let's get out. Let's actually produce something. And by the way, if you don't know what you want to be producing, because am I a content creator? What am I? I'm pumping out content. By the way, guys, all of you listening to the podcast need to follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well, because I'm pumping out content at all cylinders lately, and you need to be locked in with me. But obviously, when it comes to me producing and creating, that it's easy to say what that is, because I can sit and do a podcast. If you're not someone who's on social media, like, you might be like, how can I produce and create? Start doing something. I don't care what it is. If it's a painting by numbers in the park, just careful. Yeah, I don't know if this sounds a bit creepy. Mom, there's a weird woman doing painting in the kids' park. Not in the kids' play area. I don't even mean that. I'm saying that could be a little ditty. A bit of a ditty vibe if you're doing colouring books in a children's playground by yourself and you are pushing 30. That could look weird. Just go into the woods a little bit. That could even look worse, actually. No, but just what I'm saying is, what am I saying? You know, good question. I don't know what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I don't know what I'm saying. Producing is anything. Producing can be writing. Producing is tapping into those childhood dreams and goals. Producing is doing something that's not just constantly consuming. Producing is reading a poem. That is still producing in a way, because you just have to switch from consuming all the time to creating more. Okay? And when you look back on your life, you don't want to think that all the best things that have ever happened to you have actually been thoughts. That is so scary and terrifying to me. And right now that actually is the case for me. But I'm going to change that 100%. And it's going to start for me by learning to nip those thoughts in the bud when I'm getting carried away, being like, oh my God, I'm winning an Oscar. Oh my God, I'm winning an Oscar. This is brilliant. I'm winning an Oscar. Body T. I'll get my Oscar. Oh my God, there's Kevin Hart. He's just come up and said that he loves my work. Oh my God. And I get to go back to my king, my 6'7" king. who just, he just does everything right and he's brilliant. And I'm on this spiral train of just bliss, stopping myself and being like, hang on, that's all good and well, but like, what am I actually doing in real world? What have I done today? And same with the negative shit, because it's weird, isn't it? I feel like I've lived my best days. This is the kicker. I feel like I've lived my best days in my head, and I've also lived my worst days in my head. But the mundane days are the real days. That's so scary. Because it's like we're teasing ourselves in our mind, but then we're also torturing ourselves in our mind. I've won an Oscar in my head, and I've also been brutally attacked by a pit bull terrier in my head. Sorry, that's just random niche because I was attacked by I have this weird memory of being attacked by a dog when I was 7. But then when I say to my family, like, did this happen? They say no. So I'm someone's lying, and obviously it's not me. But yeah, I've been on like a massive world tour in my head, and then I've also been like walked into a room and everyone's been like throwing tomatoes at me and they've been like, you're a bitch, in my head as well. In real life, nothing close to either of these things has ever happened, okay? That's some food for thought, isn't it? That's some food for thought. Getting really matter of fact with when I'm noticing these thought patterns. I always say this on the podcast, but like, noticing something is the first step to freedom. If you're a massive cunt and you're a massive bitch, the first step to you getting free from that is noticing, yeah, actually, you know what? I can be quite a bitch to people. Just that thought. Don't take huge giant steps and be like, I need to stop all of my daydreaming and all of my thinking, overthinking and all of this. Your first little step is to, when you notice it happening, being like, that's my mind attacking me there. And even if the first week you can't actually do anything about it, even if the first step you can take is just noticing it, that's the key. Because I think the reason that a lot of us have gone so far with this is because we're not even noticing that we're doing it. So the first step is kind of making that mental note, I'm doing this. This is bad for me. It feels so free to talk about. It feels so good to talk about this. Get out of my head. And then just keep going, get out of my head. I just want to say how much you guys mean to me without sounding cringe, and I genuinely do mean that. I feel like I do know you all very well. It's so weird, like, having this community. If you have enjoyed this episode, give me a little like and a little hype and a little love. It does go such a long way. I do actually hate to ask. I feel like the last thing I always do, like, I'm firing on all cylinders and then I'm like, oh, I've got to ask them to like show some love, but it helps me so much, and obviously it's nothing for you, so I do really appreciate you guys doing that. I feel like I also as well just want to say thank you so much to all of you who do that and all of you who are on this journey with me. And that's what I love. It feels like we're all on a journey to just being better together, but also being like silly and fun and like having a laugh with it as well. Because this isn't meant to be a drag, and it's not going to be with me. Next episode, I want to almost give a sneak peek, but I can't. One of my favorite episodes, and I can't even put into words how excited I am to talk about this, is going to be next week's episode. So wherever you're listening or watching, make sure that you're subscribed and notifications on, because you're going to want. Also, I have an Instagram for the podcast and a TikTok for the podcast to keep up with clips. And on the Instagram, I'm going to be doing something really fun. So follow the Instagram. Everything's linked in the description of wherever you're listening and watching. And I do mean this as well. I will see all of my Patreons tonight because, and again, this is all I'm going to say. If you join the Patreon, it's going to change your life. And I've never been more confident in that. It's my baby. So that is linked in the description of wherever you're listening and watching. Come and join. And of course, I'll see you for the very exciting next public episode next week. I love you all so much. You all mean the world to me. And have the best Sunday. I will be in church while you guys are watching this, praising the Lord.